Yeah, I think we can wait a little bit.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. You know, um, one of the ideas we brainstormed, Shaw, during District 420 tonight was this idea that if we were able to get this arcade platform to a point where it's successful and we have many different mini games on it, it could be its own standalone product, which could then maybe be licensed out to, for example, someone who wants to build a physical arcade machine, or even a place that is a like an arcade. And this mini game platform could be like a potential thing where you could go up to this arcade machine, you could play the mini games, and then your earnings would actually be dispensed through the machine, via either a hard, if you have a wallet, or like with the Bitcoin ATMs, it gives you a seed phrase, which you then go home and you enter the seed phrase with the wallet with the rewards in it, and now you have the Web3 wallet. So, there's so many opportunities here for this arcade platform to take hold. And I think there's no future. Even said that, or the eventual vision could be using these with other mini games that are not Aavegotchi mini games, but across other NFT platforms. So there's a huge vision here, and I think starting here in Aavegotchi is like you can be in a better place to start something like this.
Yeah, I mean, we can start off here and see how it goes. If it's going to attract some people first, and I think the idea is really cool and huge, but I'm sure it would need so much effort and a big company to partnership with. I'm not sure who can come up with some offer for this idea you just said. I'm not sure who's going to give that offer to us, or maybe you want ourselves to start creating these machines. I'm not sure,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah. I mean, there's just a huge potential there. There's like that saying in Rome where if you build it, they'll come, right? So if we just build this out, and make it a success in our ecosystem, that could translate across to other ideas, other products, and expansions.
yeah, why not? This is a fully centralized game hosting platform, so there are so many other ideas that could be implemented for this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, so I guess Shaw, this might be some people's first time getting to know you or see you here. Maybe we could talk about how you started your journey with Aavegotchi, or even your talents and skill sets. How did you start this journey? I know we were talking before this call, kind of how you first got started with Aavegotchi, and then how you started the arcade light paper. Do you want to maybe start there, and then we can actually get into the paper itself?
Yeah, sure. I've been introduced to the Aavegotchi project from the Aavegotchi Game Jam, as you guys might remember that event. That was a big event for every game developer to get involved in the Aavegotchi project. So this was for me too. I am so grateful for that as well. Yeah, so I started building this game called Liquidators Chase with the almost had the kind of team to start the ideations, but the development team was only myself. So I was working as an indie developer in the project, and Liquidators Chase is almost ready to host events. I did even some stress tests, um, but there is no platform. There's no big stage for it to host these kind of events, and I mean the efforts has been put there. For me was kind of 9 months of work. So I was thinking if I could take it to another level with building this platform, just not for myself, but every other developers that have been suffering from not having a good, not for not making a good revenue from their games, and they need to be compensated from somewhere. There must be a way to compensate them. So this was the idea I could came up with, and here it is right now, and here I am right now. Yeah.
Right on. No, that's a great introduction. Thanks for sharing that. And this is not the full light paper. That's something that's still kind of under review. We have a meeting with Pixelcraft actually coming up, and finding out how they can help support and provide resources as well. But for now, to give people a good idea of what this is, like you mentioned, this is a decentralized game hosting platform for people developing Aavegotchi games. And so that addresses many issues going on right now, such as having onboarding mechanisms for game developers from different levels of like skill to monetizing mini game development. Having your mini game actually create earnings for you, and also being able to recognize contributors to helping those mini games become a success. And then you also have the entertainment aspect of it with event hosting and the ability to create content from these games. I think it's going to really add a lot of value to Aavegotchi assets. And so maybe we can start off with Shaw. Did you say you want to read the arcade introduction, or I can go ahead and read it? It's totally up to you, man.
Yeah, you can go ahead. That's
Okay.
totally fine. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to read the vision here, and this is kind of the vision that Shaw set out for the arcade project. And so it starts off, we at the ATF envision the arcade to play a really important role in the future of Aavegotchi, and that's why it became our first priority and dream to put most of our energy into this project and focus to build a powerful hub to gather everyone on a united platform with the help and support of the community members and developers. We can turn into a real army, walking towards the same goal. And we talk about the gotcha sans, with art and culture. This what we're talking about here is the Aavegotchi utilization era. So this is the time when Aavegotchi assets really start to get some other intangible values added besides what the bazaar and what the current market is valuing these assets at. They're very modular assets, right? They live on chain as SVGs, and so we're not really utilizing that feature really a whole lot right now. Like building mini games and building games of all sorts actually is a huge utility for Aavegotchis. And so we want to bring that into the forefront of what Aavegotchi means. So this also needs the Aavegotchi DAO and DTF to stand behind us and fund a huge community-driven project to enable ATF members to actually form a real development team so they can start building it. They're firstly aiming to encourage the current existing game devs and artists living in the ecosystem. So we have an extensive amount of developers who have contributed to Aavegotchi, and now we kind of want to get them fired up and get them motivated to be part of this journey. And so let's let's try and promote this as much as we can, even externally in the crypto space, because I'm sure there is a lot of dev talent out there that could potentially really enjoy working on something like this. And so this project is also attempting to onboard new talented game developers, gamers, and artists into Aavegotchi, and empowering them with the arcade platform, using the on-chain assets and community-driven game jams, art contests, and basically giving the creators the appreciation they actually deserve for their time and effort, and finally trying to compensate them in the best ways possible, while engaging the community. So this is the vision of what the ATF platform is. Did I miss anything, Joe?
No, no, it was perfect.
You are the guy with the vision, and I'm just trying to, like, I became the DAO project manager not long ago, and I think I already had a good idea of what projects in our ecosystem had high potential, could really be something bigger than what we were imagining. And there's a few of those projects, and this was definitely one of them. So I'm glad that I'm in a position where maybe I can help bring the resources to this project that I'll actually need to actually see success. And so I guess we can get into some of the details of what this platform is and how the different parties involved can actually can benefit from this. And just so you know, Shah, I might not get into the complete details of everything we have here, but I want to make sure I give everyone here a good idea of all the little moving pieces, at least, of the platform.
Yeah, sure.
And so first, we'll switch over to the presentation here. So we have the ATF arcade platform. I like the saying here, we have the bullets, but now we need a gun. We need the thing that will hold all the bullets and make things happen. And so the vision includes, of course, like we just talked about, the utilization era of Aavegotchi, and giving Aavegotchi assets some additional value with the use of games, and also using these wearables and different metrics like XP and variables like the stats of the Aavegotchis to really differentiate value in our ecosystem, and so that now players will be looking at these assets in a different way, and maybe more uniquely from one asset to the next. And so that's the first aspect. The second point, which is something we were kind of casually talking about at the start of this call, was maybe introducing Aavegotchi to the outer world with an entertaining platform. Whether that's on Twitch, you're looking at No Future streaming on the platform because he started an event, or you're looking at what we were talking about, the more ambitious idea of possibly being in the physical world in some form of an arcade machine, and being able to monetize that way and be able to interact with normal everyday users that way through an arcade experience. So that would be the second thing. Incentivizing current existing developers and artists in the community. Of course, there are artists, and there are also game designers who've put significant work into developing Aavegotchi games that maybe haven't got the recognition that they deserve, and so this can be a little bit disheartening for those developers, and they may not want to continue contributing to something where they may not be getting recognized for their efforts, either for monetization or just recognition from the community, maybe due to lack of organization for those events. So yeah, incentivizing the current existing developers and artists, that's definitely one of the goals. But in addition to that, we also want to onboard new game developers, gamers, and artists into Aavegotchi. And this platform has the potential to make that really exciting and get those game developers over here, especially during a bear market where people are focused on building, and maybe good work might be hard to find in these sorts of projects. So we have some quality to offer here, and this might be an avenue for those developers. I also see this being an avenue for education for developers who maybe are starting their journey. We have people who have been so impressed with the way these assets work and how easy, well, relatively easy it is to get a mini game together if you have some basic coding skills, and then being able to be in a community where you can help each other improve and problem solve. That is also going to be valuable. And so we want to build a game and art hosting hub together to gather everyone in one place where everyone can prosper, everyone can benefit in some way or another by contributing to the platform. And so we also want to appreciate the creators for their precious time and effort, of course, and compensating the creators and users in the best way possible. So creating that circular economy where creators are getting rewarded, but also users have the ability to get compensated if they're, achieving high scores. Maybe there's leaderboards associated, or there could be direct compensation or earning through the games. So that's the arcade vision there. Sorry, just 1 minute. I just gotta get a little sip of water. So we have game developers. They're going to be key to building out this platform. Everything from the platform itself to the actual mini games that are going to be hosted on the platform. Now, to start out, there may be only 3 to 5 games that we start out with on this platform, but of course, as time goes on, we will have a community develop around this and be able to onboard the currently existing games, but also be an on-ramp for games that maybe are not quite ready for being hosted on the platform, and help them get there. And so the developers would basically submit the game details to begin with, images, trailers, description, other info for their game. Then they'd be able to customize the game's main landing page and play landing page. So this is just gathering all the pieces required to launch a game on the platform. Add a game version through the game's control panel and sync files into Arweave. So that's another aspect of this is Arweave, and the Arweave chain is going to be a big part of this. Everything from maybe, I'm not sure, but maybe the whole platform being hosted on Arweave could be possible, right, Shah?
I've tested the Unity games, so they are actually compatible with the Array network. So, but I'm not sure about the Phaser game. So it could be kind of the alpha version to test out everything if they all go really well. So we can release it that way. Otherwise, I think we could reconsider so to making it hosted in the traditional way or something. There are several ways to do that, but at the moment we are preferring to do this in the decentralized way.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point to make is that the alpha version is may not always be all on chain completely, but the overall goal here is to keep this platform as decentralized as possible, including the hosting. And so we want to host as much of the material as we can on Arweave at least. And we can always iterate on that and continue to move forward that way. And so the next point there, after you do that with Arweave, is enroll the game to be published and playable. And so there's a stress testing period, and you'll be able to host successful stress tests, or hopefully your stress tests are successful If not, that goes back to hopefully having other developers to lean on and creating a really efficient development pipeline where everyone's helping each other and overcome the issues they're having with their mini games to help them get on the platform. And so the goal here would be to enable to get to a point where you can host the game securely on the platform and have real events and have the monetization aspect kicked in. So there are many moving parts to this, but one of the things that we might want to briefly touch on is the contribution points, and that kind of goes hand in hand with this spare coin donation kind of crowdfunding aspect of the platform. I think we'll probably I think we do get into it later here, but the contribution points are critical to funding the games themselves, and also allows an avenue for communities, our Aavegotchi community, to crowdsource capital and help fund these mini games in the early stages of development, when funding may not have been received quite yet for the games, or the developers are spending their free time on these games and aren't particularly looking for compensation right away. This spare coin crowdfunding aspect could become really valuable to the platform. And so that would be a kind of crowdfunding stage. And then when users promote an offline or in development game, they benefit from boosted XPs and scores. And so there's an XP system here as well that we can touch on. And so the devs can gain XP and even a small amount of contribution points when others promote their game. So we'll get more into more details on what the contribution points are, how they work. The XP system will be another big part of this. But these are all going to be used as incentives to help mini games get developed on the platform. The players. So of course, the players, and this is something we're talking about in Aavegotchi right now, is to get more players through the door. There's a term I'm kind of thinking of called, I've kind of coined the term, I don't know if I've heard it before, but kind of like time to fun. When you play a game, you're on a platform, how long before you're actually having fun and you're enjoying what you're doing? Most games that are enjoyable to play, it's a very low latency period. You get on the game and you're instantly engaged with some sort of activity. We want to create something like that where you could come to the platform and you would go through a list of different games using the platform search engine, and the time to fun would be really low. Whereas, with the Gotchiverse being in early stages of development right now, it will get to a point where you log in instantly and you're in a dungeon, you're exploring, you're doing some really engaging activity. But we need something in the meantime that will also give people that sort of engagement. And I think this platform will be able to do that. So probably lower that time to fun barrier and bring that down from a couple minutes before you're engaged to maybe like 10 seconds. You're instantly there, you're earning, you're playing, you're having a good time. So you can read about these games, look at the details through the game's main landing page. We're hoping to have like a nice clean UI to start, but also maybe recruit some help from the community, for of course compensated, for maybe some interface design or some artistic addition to make the page look really nice. So you can click the play button and you start playing the game, and you can create and reserve your own events using these contribution points. So you'll get these contribution points for providing capital or donating to games. You will get contribution points for that. And those points will allow you to reserve and create your own events that will get hosted. And maybe we can collaborate with Pixelcraft and come up with some really cool ways to get these events hosted. You could select your desired event through the game's available event section and start the match. And then the event concludes and the validators approve the on-chain leaderboard. And so the validators are another component of this that we can get into. These validators are essentially ensuring the security and fairness of these competitions, making sure that the botting and the cheating is cut down to a minimum. So you either receive the reward if you won, or you get refunded depending on the validator's decision. And so it is somewhat of a manual process, but I think it's still pretty effective for these events. And then, there's just a note there. Basic users can't earn contribution points or gain any seasonal score points or XP, but can explore, play, and join events, and even receive event rewards. So this could be maybe a player who is just coming to the platform, or is interacting with the platform somewhere where it's just hosted, like an arcade or something like that. And so we have the creators, of course, content creators in Aavegotchi. We do our live streams. We usually stream the hangouts, any spillover things, rarity farming season events. This could be another type of event that could be very much like a streaming event for content creators. And so these content creators would be able to go to the game's main landing page and events section. They reserve a date and specify some parameters to customize their own event, and then they could pay the event creation and reservation costs in the contribution points, which they would have earned from actually donating to the platform during the crowdfunding stage. And so that's going to be like a circular effect. It's kind of cool, actually, how that was put together by Shaw, and that is one of the more interesting features that I really saw when I first was going through this. And then, of course, pay the developers and validators cut in governance token up front, or you could do it from some sort of a rewards pool. And then your event is created and listed on the platform, and others may join. And then, of course, you kick off the event, and it's a success. We have artists, and actually, Gotchi Bulls is a good example of this. I think it was Gotchi Bulls who is creating there's a Aavegotchi racing game where there's billboards in the game, and the game there's different guilds and stuff that are advertised in the game. So I could very much see a potential for having NFTs and art displayed throughout this platform. So a basic kind of example case study how that would work would be the artist would submit their information. They would upload and sync the image into Arweave. Once it's synced, you enroll your art and you get it listed on the platform. And I would imagine there's potential there to get that integrated in games as they're getting developed, but also on the platform itself. And then you can tag a game on your art to list it on the art gallery section of the game. So games that have specific areas for that. And, I also see a potential here for artists to create promotions. Like crypto-based promotions could be part of this artist aspect. Users can spend their contribution points to promote the artists in return for a boosted XP and score. Art can also benefit from the Sparrow coin and custom donation system. So there's also, the ability to include artists with the Sparrow coin crowdfunding that we have for developers. So that is kind of like a first glance look at this platform. Of course, a lot of moving pieces, but I kind of want to ask you guys, how do you feel about this? I want to get your thoughts and maybe some questions that you might have.
I love it. As a content creator, I love being part of these events where, we're playing, mini games that are made for us by the community. So being able to like have a system and a platform to be able to do that and to be able to help in that way is going to be awesome, and to be able to monetize it in that way too.
Yeah, I think the monetization ability is going to be huge for everyone all around, and being able to create events on demand is also going to be really interesting because we saw that tonight with the like how exciting was that with the Gotchi Jam game round that we did. We just did one or two rounds, but it was a very engaging activity. And that second hour of the hangout, it kind of just flew by. We got really invested in that.
Yeah, I think what we were missing, and I've said this before because we've had this kind of lull in mini games since season 3 and season 2. We're missing that competitive edge, and these mini games give us that, and that's why we were all enthralled because we got to watch two gotchis go at it, and they were interesting games. Like they were tight games at some point before they became blowouts. But we were all invested in watching. So like, there's definitely like the fact that Aavegotchi's building an arena so that we can observe PvP is like that points to the fact that this plan is going in the right direction, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Very, and you mentioned the arena. That's going to be a great source of entertainment. And then I think when you combine entertainment with creativity, you may get something with the what you have going on here with the arcade platform, where it's going to be more of a free, open competitiveness. You might have like a niche for everybody. There might be different types of games. There might be like a like meditation game. There might be like a puzzle game. There might be like a first person shooter style game. There's going to be so many different types of games that even if you suck at the arena, you can go to the Aavegotchi arcade platform and go find something that you're actually good at. And so yeah, I think there's a huge and then the other thing is creating a developer community around Aavegotchi. Like we do have people who are enthusiastic about this stuff and really enjoy development and have created some great products, but they don't necessarily talk to each other. They're like kind of giants in their own right. They're very gigabrain, big brain people. But I couldn't only imagine what would happen if we brought all these people together in a cohesive community where they're all helping each other, and there's developers that are maybe starting on their journey, like more junior, and they're coming up and they're starting to get experience and build their own mini games, and it could really be a great opportunity for mentorship and having Aavegotchi minigame mentorship happening through this platform. So I see a huge potential, and I shared a visual there. This is just a kind of brief, kind of basically what I just talked about, just showing it all on one kind of page there. You got the Aavegotchi arcade platform with the main focus of unlimited asset utilization, creating onboarding mechanisms for game developers, building this platform for monetizing minigame development and contribution through content creation, and Aavegotchi based entertainment and event hosting for players. And then so think about all the different parties here that could be involved with this. You could have pixel artists coming in creating the tiles for the mini games and building different like assets for the mini games. You could have game designers who are actually coming up with the ideas for the mini games, and they may not be developers, but they have a great idea for a game, but they don't really know anybody who can make this game. And so then you have this onboarding mechanism for developers, right? And they might see the idea for the game design, and they might have the interest in developing that game because they see the potential for profit. And both, of course, both can profit, but then they can collaborate and begin creating a mini game. You have game hosts. I could see no future like you could be one of the game hosts, and you regularly get you create events with contribution points, and then you monetize those hosts of those games.
Hell yeah. I would go and buy like a gotchi version of an Alex Trebek suit and just be like a welcome to Gotchi Jam or whatever, you know?
Yeah, hell yeah. So like that in itself is like a role I see in the Gotchiverse. And then you have, like I said, the monetization platform for actually developing the mini games, and contribution. So you have gamers that might be interested in only coming to the platform because they're really good at a handful of games, and they can earn a couple bucks. We've seen what happened with the scholars. Like the scholars are looking for a way to earn and also being able to play games, and they enjoy the Aavegotchi community and the vibe. So maybe this could be something for them to really engage with the game while they're working out the spillover stuff. This could be a place where a lot of that energy could be absorbed, and they could earn through this platform, even if it's a couple bucks, because we've seen how far that currency goes for them, right? So I don't think it would turn into an extractive thing, because the way it's designed with event hosting and having validators, and it's very much targeted around specific events, and so it wouldn't be a consistent thing, at least to begin with. But it would give them periodic opportunities to earn and make some money, while also helping stress test their games. Then you have creators. We already talked about that, with creating streaming content and even secondary content for the mini games, right? We have fake gotchis now, so I could only imagine creating a fake gotchi card, and that card associated with the specific mini game gives you a power up or gives you a cool item in the game, and now you have the fake gotchi card representing the item in the game. So we're kind of linking art with games. Yeah, and then you have Aavegotchi based entertainment, event hosting. I think we covered that. We have the crowdfunding aspect of it through the contribution points. And so, we do have a treasury to help fund these games, but they may want a little bit of initial funding while they're in their very early stages of development. When they haven't even developed an MVP yet, this might help them, at least give them some of that motivation and cover some of their expenses while they're trying to get to MVP for a mini game. And so that's where I see a huge potential for the crowdfunding aspect. And briefly, the way the crowdfunding is going to work is there's going to be almost a queue of games that are up and coming in development, and you'll be able to go through as someone who wants to contribute and go through and pick the ones that you like and be able to contribute to them through this spare coin system. And so you can donate to the games that you really want to see come to fruition, and you'll get those contribution points. And so when those games become successful, then you'll be able to use those points to host your events around that game. So I think that's a genius idea, and I think it's going to really get people fired up to look for those games that are really a success and bring them to the platform. Then you have NFTs, of course. We talked about NFTs being tied to items or even gated NFT events. So you may have a specific fake gotchi card or NFT, and only those holding that NFT or only those having that style of gotchi would be invited to the event. So there's also the aspect of gating through Aavegotchi. So you could say, well, I'm hosting an event, and I want only Aavegotchis that are high energy to be part of this event. And so there may be a potential for that to be integrated, where you could specify what exactly you want, what parameters you want around this event. It doesn't maybe have to be all inclusive for everybody. It could be for a specific, hey, you need a specific item. If you don't have a wizard staff for this event, you cannot enter. And so you could have these specific parameters built around the events as well, which I think would make these events really exciting. And what we saw with Gotchi Jam tonight, really keep that game, the score tight, because it really makes things exciting.
Well, it's interesting you say that because we were talking earlier, and I had this idea. I'm going to try to ask Pixelcraft what they think about it tomorrow. But like, say for Gotchi Jam as an example, like we're going to ideally be running seasons and tournaments. So I want to see if Pixelcraft would consider like, hey, if we're going to be doing Jam as like seasons and tournaments or whatever, would you consider putting out only aesthetic wearables, which are basketball jerseys for different teams? To like aid because then the players can be playing in their jersey when they're in the game. It could be something we do via GBM. It has no BRS. There's no dilution because these won't count against anything. But they'll just be specifically purposed towards like competitions in the Gotchiverse, like say guild basketball leagues or stuff like that.
Oh man, like that's another great idea. You could have specific like pennies, like penny NFTs, and you can hand them out and have like little mini communities around mini games. Like that's awesome. I'm just reading some of the comments here. We have OXEFI. This is a very comprehensive vision and ambitious project. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The scale of this project didn't even strike me till I really dug into the light paper and got to sit down with Shaw and talk about his whole idea. Because this is something that's been in development for like 9 months, being built in the background, that we didn't even really know what was going on. So I'm happy it's right on the forefront here, and I'm glad that GMI is a big part of this collaboration with the arcade, with the Aavegotchi arcade, and we're going to make that big push to make sure people know about this Aavegotchi arcade, both in Aavegotchi but also outside of our ecosystem, and trying to attract more talent to the game. I agree with PG. Yeah, this is perfectly in line with Pixelcraft and the DAO vision for Aavegotchi games. The platform can be funded by the project, but offloading the work to a task force like the ATF is the right way to support and hold those events. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yeah, I think the event system is an important aspect. Offering a way to set up and manage a gaming event on a robust and secure infrastructure without having to divert Pixelcraft time will be key to having them on a more regular basis. Exactly. And creating that security and taking the responsibility away from Pixelcraft is really what we're trying to do here. Okay, awesome. Yeah, OXEFI, I appreciate that, man, and I do appreciate everything you do as well. With the Notion wizardry. I think the DAO is really going to benefit from some of the work that we're going to be doing here. Shaw, did I miss anything?
I think it was alright, but I think maybe we could go with kind of bit more detail about the earning, how to earn these contribution points, and maybe where do players or users can spend these contribution points, make some clarification, and maybe introduce them more use cases for these contribution points. Yeah, that was what I was thinking that was kind of missing here. And we could also, yeah, I think it was okay. Maybe
Well, I do want to cover the contribution points. It is a fairly extensive system, and I think, well, honestly, I think what we should do here is we have the roadmap for the project, right? I think we should give people a good idea of what the roadmap
yeah,
for this will look like, and I definitely think we should have another GMI call just for that for the earning system. I think we should have a call just to cover how do you earn on this platform, how do you create on this platform. I think that is a topic on its own that deserves its own hour of coverage.
yeah, I would suggest another thing. I'm thinking that this event might not be scheduled on very good for every time zones.
Yeah.
For me, it has started in the 5 in the morning, so I had to sleep 4 in the morning and then wake up 5 in the morning. And for in the Europe, in the Asia, this is kind of the same, I think. But it would be kind of good timing for America and Canada, that regions. So I think we are just missing a good number of attendance
Hmm.
in this event. So I think another event specifically for this introduction, and
Yeah.
maybe we
An
could
alternative
go
time.
more in, yeah, we could go more deeply into maybe saying, maybe for contribution points experience, how to you can gain experience, and a lot of these kind of contents. So this could be kind of feasible, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think what we're after here, with so many moving parts, we're almost about to go on a some sort of a GMI roadshow with this, and be able to pitch it not only to Pixelcraft, but maybe to other larger players in the community, and see how much talent and resources we can attract to this. So this is definitely the first inaugural meeting of introducing this project, this ambitious project. But there are going to be definitely more meetings and more presentations. And I agree. We'll definitely try and keep those other folks in mind for next time around, and find a better time that could serve for the Asian and European side of the world.
Yeah, sure.
But I wanted to quickly cover the roadmap here. We have about maybe another 10 minutes, and I also want to take some questions at the end if you guys have. But we want to look at the roadmap here of what we kind of envision for development here. Being that it's a fairly ambitious project, we're hoping to start pretty much immediately in Q4 of this year, and we'll start by hosting the website. Getting the talent that we need, preparing the development team, finalizing the ideations, and that's probably going to take some collaboration with Pixelcraft. But I think they are very much excited about this as much as we are, and so getting those ideas together and publishing the finalized white paper, and then getting the development team going, starting development, maybe getting the first tranche of funding out there for this project, and then the decentralized game hosting platform launch, alpha version, hopefully at the end of the quarter, for the minimum viable product of the game of the platform. And so from there, Q1 2023, start the on-chain event hosting, and maybe host our first inaugural event in Q1 of 2023. Implement a seasonal leaderboard, and then we would start the first test season on Mumbai Testnet, and we would have hopefully a few games there to start implementing. I think the first one might be Liquidators Chase and maybe Gotchi Miners, but we'll see. There might be more games involved, and then we'll have our smart contract audits, mainnet migration preparation, and then initiate the first official season. Q2 2023, we'll launch the arcade grand event, the arcade shop implementation, and that will have some other features that we'll get into. Um, Arcade Gotchi Borrow lending platform. So the Aavegotchi Arcade will have its own lending and borrowing that people who maybe.
Sorry, Efik, could you share the roadmap on your screen as well?
Oh yes, sorry, I didn't switch my screen. There we go. My bad.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. And so we have Q1 2023, Q2 2023 Grand Events launch, Arcade Shop, implementing Arcade Gotchi Borrow Lending right on that platform. So we want to make this as streamlined as possible, so you're not having to leave the platform just to go rent an Aavegotchi. You should be able to do that in the UI. Then decentralized art hosting also on the platform, and then releasing on-chain game jam hosting and on-chain art contest hosting. And so these features will be implemented there. And then finally, the on-chain quest system. So there'll be a whole system of quests around groups of mini games and maybe specific parameters, like we mentioned earlier. And then, of course, there's debugging, there's game engine support improvements, and then maintaining the platform, pushing updates, and then marketing the ideas and continuing to develop partnerships in the ecosystem. So it's quite an ambitious roadmap, but hopefully with the right resources and the right people on the development team, this project can meet those milestones. So at least I think some of these things might take a little longer to implement. Of course, there's always hurdles that happen, but what I guess the main thing here is to get to the minimum viable product, the alpha version, and we should be able to see that in early development, which is exciting.
Yeah, I think it could be done in the Q1 2023. So in 5 or 6 months. So I think that's something feasible for this project, and users can benefit from this project in that time.
Wow, I mean, yeah, you're a machine. Honestly, I really appreciate all the work you put in here, and this is still going to take a lot more work, but from what I understand, we'll be working kind of full time on this basically and making it happen. So I'm kind of excited.
Of course, if we have the right team behind it, the experienced developers, designers, and everything, and of course, with the good team, we of course might need we need to compensate them, so enough funds.
Yeah.
If we have the enough funds, we can form the team and then get into start the development, and then I'm sure if we have the right team behind it, we could go exactly as roadmap.
Yeah, I totally agree with that sentiment. Cold Spirit says, I like it heavy. I missed a lot of the presentation. This is a small divergence from the Pixelcraft main product, but using Aavegotchi as assets as the core. If we say the Pixelcraft main product is in fact the Gotchiverse, this platform would be its own standalone, fully decentralized game hosting platform for Aavegotchi minigames, which would also have other aspects of it built in, such as crowd hosting, crowdfunding, event hosting, having onboarding mechanisms for game developers, and then having a monetization platform built in, monetization built into the platform for minigame development as well as contribution. So yeah, it is a standalone product from Pixelcraft's Gotchiverse, but I could totally see it being weaved in. Once they start to build out their SDK and being able to bring the two things together eventually would be beautiful. But that's definitely not on the roadmap currently. I think we're trying to be a little bit decentralized and have this be its own standalone showcase product. So it'll be the first large thing that Aavegotchi DAO has ever built on its own, fully decentralized with our own members, community members stepping up to build it. So very ambitious, but also this could be a first for any DAO that I know of.
Yeah, also I think I missed the NFT shop of games, which is part of an important part of the platform. I guess with NFT shop specifically for every game, and they could do these sales, NFT sales for their games on the platform, and people are going to be notified easily when the sales is on. And this could also be very it make good revenue for game developers as well. And so I think this is a perfect place for game developers to host their games. And I've tried to come up with different incentives for different type of users, not just with the game developers. Also, we have these validators, and they would make a revenue from every event they're validating. And also we've got even creators as well. They can come up with their own strategy creating these events, and with their distribution roles assigned to those events, they can make a good revenue out of creating events as well. And also we've got these gotcha gangs. We've got the players and users, they have their own incentives as well. You can use your gaming skills to win these events, or maybe you can even create your own events as well for fun. Or you could buy NFTs and trade them in the shop as well. Also, there's a lot of more incentives for everyone, which is described in the light paper. I was hoping if we could share and release this light paper today. I was so excited about it, but we have this upcoming event to coordinate more things around this platform, which is something really great to have. So we can wait that and see how things going to play out until that time, and maybe do some kind of modifications on the light paper, and we can release that afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. That meeting with Pixelcraft will give us a lot more clarity. There's some examples of other Web 2 game hosting platforms here that are quite successful. There's like itch.io, that's one there to check out, just to give you an idea of what we're talking about here.
Yeah, but there's something I was personally really excited. I want to point out was this list on the front page of the platform. We have this centralization kind of listing on the platform. You can use your own contribution points to promote your own games, your own arts, or even your favorite arts, your favorite games, and you're going to gain a boosted amount of experience score, but a limited per season to get to maybe you can use other activities as well to avoid this abusage from just focusing on one thing on the platform. So yeah, you could use these contribution points to promote your games, your arts, and other people's creativities on the platform, which makes this lists, promotional lists, kind of decentralized. And this is something I am also excited about. I think this is something cool.
Absolutely, and that's a good
Yeah, this
point
is
too.
my
I
personal
shared
thought.
those. Yeah, and I shared those websites there, but by no means are we trying to be those. We're going to be way better than those because we're going to be decentralized, and there's going to be a whole system around empowering creators and artists and
Yeah,
developers.
I mean, we've got events, on-chain events, and I'm sure the itch.io is able to host games, list games, promote games, and everything, and even make some kind of revenue stream for game developers. But there are not much incentives for players, I guess, or maybe other aspects of it. But in the arcade platform, we're thinking that everyone deserves these to be appreciated for the time they're putting and be compensated for that time and effort, and also have fun at the same time.
It's a good point. We're way more inclusive. Artists, contributors.
But I
Also,
think people need to notify this in the first place, and we need this. We need to get people get attracted to the idea in the first place, and create this army as we're progressing and going forward until we can make this platform into a real thing. This isn't possible without this army.
oh yeah, we're gonna build the army, and I mean it starts here at GMI. What we're gonna do is part of what we want to do is create a an area in our server here where we can continue to have a conversation around the development of this specific platform, while also being able to scout for talent for this platform. So it is going to be a very much a community effort, and I'm hoping GMI can play a big part in at least attracting the talent and, like you say, making this come to reality.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Does anyone else? We have some people in the audience here. Anyone have any questions that you might still have in regards to the project here? You can either ask your question in Sound of the Ghost or unmute yourself.
Yeah, go on. If anyone have any questions, me and Hefe would, would appreciate.
Well, you know what, Shaw? I'll tell you, sometimes when you do a really good job of explaining something, if nobody has any questions at the end, it just means you you pretty much explained it really well. So, uh, if you guys do not have any questions, or if you think of a question, oh, thanks. Yeah, Cold Spirit. Thank you. If you guys do have any questions, feel free to either contact myself or you can contact Shaw, and we can address any of the questions you have. We definitely want to bring everybody on board that wants to contribute. So if you do feel like you're a developer, a creator, or in some artistic aspect, please reach out to us because we can definitely bring you on the team and give you some avenues to contribute to this project.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Well, Shaw, thank you for your time today and hanging out with GMI and presenting the initial idea here of what we're trying to do. This isn't going to be the last time we speak of this, and certainly not the last presentation either. So we'll definitely be keeping this conversation going within the community.
Yeah, of course. We could also use some feedback in this very first introduction event so we can improve it in the next ones. We'll also work on our introduction in the maybe in the next ones as well. But some kind of feedback from you guys might also improve the next ones, the bigger ones. I'm
Yes,
hoping for that
absolutely.
too.
Absolutely. If you guys do have feedback, and even Shaw, if you have feedback for me, things that we could cover. I know you had some feedback regarding the contribution points and other specific things, but in regards to things that you might want to add in these presentations, we can definitely talk about that after as well. And I
Yeah,
agree.
I think it was kind of introducing this platform in a nutshell. I'm hoping the concepts and capabilities were delivered to the audience. I'm not sure, but I hope so. But I'm pretty sure you guys are going to find out more exciting things in the detailed like paper when you read it. But this was something that we wanted to introduce and start with, so that you guys aren't going to be exhausted during this event. So I hope you guys are happy. I'm not sure, but I hope
Yeah, I
so.
can I can read the crowd. I can tell you they're happy. I mean, when these guys are not saying anything, they're intrigued. So
I hope so. Yeah.
I think you did a great job. I really appreciate you taking the time here tonight. I know it was I know it was a little bit of an early start for you, and I'll keep that in mind for scheduling future events. We can definitely try and find some better timings. But again, I appreciate you sharing this with us. I'm super excited to get started on this, and this will be a big undertaking for the DAO. This is the as you put it, this is the Aavegotchi utilization era.
Yeah, and this wasn't just about me for my time zone only, because I don't personally care about if it is for the project. I would do everything as I've been doing so far. I would do that in the future as well. But if it's something constructive and if it's related to the arcade project, I would do everything, but
Yeah,
I also want to introduce this project and notify Sony other people, because I think this project deserves, and also this community deserves, to have this project. So that was what I was pointing to when I said the timing. Another timing would be really perfect as well.
yeah, absolutely. We'll make it happen, friend. Absolutely. So that is our presentation in initial intro for today. We have our of course our Saturday hangout for tomorrow, 2 p.m. UTC. We'll be in the Aavegotchi Discord. Probably be talking alpha, maybe digging into some more details about the Aavegotchi art release, and just hanging out as we usually do.
Yeah, thank you guys for contributing and participating in this event. I'm thankful for that. And also, Hefe, you did a great job introducing the project. Thank you as well.
Of course, friend, anytime. So if we have no other announcements for today, wish you all have a good rest of your evening. And if we don't see you this weekend, I hope you all have a good weekend and get to touch some grass.
Yeah, have a good weekend, guys.
Bye,
Thank
friends. See you
you.
in the morning.
Goodbye. Goodbye, guys.
Goodbye. Take care, friends. Good
Later.
night.
See y'all in the morning.